12 to 1 p.m. Central African Time.
Thank you to Jwalani Tulongwepe with our news update and Fikile Ngwati with our sports headlines. And we're coming to you live from Johannesburg in South Africa on DSTV's audio bouquet channel 802, OpenView channel 628, and on www.channelafrica.co.za, as well as on the SABC Plus app, available on the Apple and Google Play stores. If you have any stories that you'd like us to highlight or to focus on, send us an email. It is newsroom@channelafrica.co.za, or give us a call on +2711 714 4459.
Tune in and turn up the volume. This is Channel Africa.
Well, today on hashtag Africa Update Ask, we focus on the second Africa Climate Summit, which is continuing in Addis Ababa in Ethiopia in an effort to shape Africa-led climate solutions and unlock climate finance. Now, our question to you today is, how is climate change affecting you? Let us know your thoughts and your views on all our social media platforms. That's on X, Instagram at Channel Africa 1, on Facebook at Channel Africa. You can also send us your comments and voice notes to +2763 at 406 9126. Hashtag Africa Update Us.
Africa Update, your daily dose of African insights with Lulu Gaboo on Channel Africa.
The annual United Nations General Assembly gets underway in New York City today, where the issue of Palestinian statehood is expected to be central to this year's discussions. It's still 2 weeks until the high-level summit when world leaders will address the Assembly, with this year marking the 80th session of the UN General Assembly. Nick Harper has more.
September is a time of diplomacy when presidents, prime ministers, heads of government, diplomats and celebrities descend on New York City. This year, 80 years since its founding, the UN will again try to grapple with the world's most pressing problems, the ongoing conflicts in Ukraine and Gaza. They're expected to dominate discussions. But so too will the issue of Palestinian statehood. The leaders of France and Saudi Arabia are hosting a high-level summit on Monday, 22nd of September, to promote a two-state solution for Israelis and Palestinians. At that summit, for the first time, several Western nations, including France, the UK and Belgium, have signalled they will formally recognise Palestine, something that many African nations, along with South Africa, did decades ago. It comes after the US revoked or denied visas to the Palestinian delegation that was aiming to attend this year's General Assembly, including President Mahmoud Abbas. This year's main UN Security Council meeting, led by South Korea, will be a two-day open debate looking at AI and how to counter threats posed by the evolving technology. The start of the new UN General Assembly session also means a new UNGA president. For the next 12 months, the body will be headed up by the former German Foreign Minister, Annalena Baerbock. She'll work with the UN's 193 member states, chair meetings, and set the stage for the election of a new UN Secretary-General next year. Antonio Guterres' time in charge draws to a close at the end of 2026. Nick Harper, SABC News, Washington.
Africa, voici Abedi.
Oui, c'est moi.
Abedi est un passionné de musique dans l'âme. Il a un goût pour toutes sortes de musique et passe ses journées à écouter Channel Africa.
J'aime beaucoup la musique africaine.
Ok. Devinez quoi? Channel Africa veut aider Abedi et les mélomanes du monde entier à découvrir encore plus de musique incroyable. C'est pourquoi Channel Africa appelle les artistes africains à soumettre leur musique. Chers artistes, n'oubliez pas de nous fournir toutes vos informations pertinentes à l'email adresse musique@channelafrica.co.za. Les soumissions sont votre chance d'être entendues, mais elles ne garantissent pas une playlist. Toutes les soumissions seront soigneusement examinées pour voir si elles répondent aux exigences de notre station. Channel Africa, la perspective africaine.
Africa Update with Lulu Gaboo, 12 to 1 p.m. Central African Time.
It is 11 after 12 Central African time, and we're coming to you live from Johannesburg in South Africa. Our two major opposition figures in next month's elections in Cote d'Ivoire have been barred from running. The Constitutional Council announced that the former President Laurent Gbagbo and former Credit Suisse CEO Tijane Thiem are ineligible to run. Meanwhile, President Alassane Ouattara is seeking a fourth term at the age of 83. Now, for more on this, we are joined on the line by Opa Sesenyong, an Ivorian political activist. Opa, good afternoon, and thank you for joining us on Africa Update.
Good afternoon, Lulu. How are you?
Now, has this latest ruling come as a shock to the Ivorian people?
Not at all. Not at all. It's not a shock, even though it's illegal, even though it's illegitimate, but it's not a shock because this is something that we've been looking at from the very first time that it's since 2011 when Alassane Ouattara came to power. We knew and still know that these type of things would happen because President Laurent Gbagbo was first of all illegally removed from power, and for Alassane Ouattara to continue staying in power, this is exactly what he is doing. This is what he would do, and this is what we know that would happen. So it's not a shock for the Ivorian.
Now, were the two leaders hoping for a different outcome from the Constitutional Council? And do you think there could have been another way to do things?
Oh, not at all. Here again, because we know very well that the Constitutional Council is another arm of President Alassane Ouattara's power. It is unfortunately an institution that is under the influence of Ouattara's regime. So this council coming to this conclusion of maintaining Tidjane Thiam and Laurent Gbagbo out of the race of the presidential election it was almost predictable because from the outset, President Laurent Gbagbo was not included in the final list of the candidates. So for us, for Ivorian to hope that it will be on this, would be allowed by the Constitutional Council, would have been, a dream which we knew would never happen.
Now, let's take a look at the current contenders. The obvious one, first up, being the current president, Alassane Ouattara, who is 83 years old.
Yes, not only his age keeps him out of should keep him out of the race, but even for him to run for a fourth term is unthinkable. I mean, for somebody who thinks that he is promoting democracy, this is not unthinkable because this is similar to a coup d'etat, and this has been going on since his third term in 2020. So this is the continuation of the coup d'etat, of the constitutional coup d'etat. So not only Ouattara himself is illegal, his running of the presidential election is illegal, but the fact of even keeping his rivals, the Ivorians, such as Laurent Gbagbo, out of the race is also very, very illegal.
Now, apart from Laurent Gbagbo, I beg your pardon, Alassane Ouattara, the former First Lady, Simone Yvette Gbagbo, and former ministers, Jean-Louis Bellon, Ahoua Don Mello, and Henriette Lagou, they are also the five contenders. What can you tell us about these contenders? And is there even a possibility of one of them pulling, a trick out of a hat?
Not at all. As long as the voting roll remains as it is, with people who are not who do not meet the requirements to be voters on the list. On that list, you will find people who were dead a long time ago. On that list, you will see people who have more than 50 children. You will see people who are 100 years old, who are still alive. As long as the voting roll remains the way it is now, there is none of those people who have been retained as candidates who will ever win that election. Even if the voters roll was legally made, Ouattara will be the one announcing the results. It's not the voters' result that will be announced. It is the name of Ouattara that will be announced as a winner. Perhaps if these people who have been kept on the list, who have been maintained as candidates, could come together as the opposition, including President Laurent Gbagbo's party, including Simone Gbagbo, including Afi N'Guessan of the FBI, including all those who have been maintained, can come together as an opposition and choose one single candidate. Only then, and apart from that, on top of that, if they can go back and claim that that voters' roll is cleaned and resettled, only then one can hope to have a legal and legitimate elections in Cote d'Ivoire that may see the fall of Alassane Ouattara. If not, there will just be accompanying Ouattara to its own victory. That's what I see.
Now, we're talking about elections that are taking place next month, which is in October. With all these potential candidates, how would it have worked if the former president Laurent Gbagbo was also on the ballot list as a candidate for the presidency, seeing that the former first lady is also one of these contenders?
Well, like I said, I mean, anyone who can pass the filter of the Constitutional Council is retained. If anyone is retained to compete, it's still up to the opposition to come together. Whether it's even if President Laurent Gbagbo was maintained on the list, there is no political party that can win directly elections in Cote d'Ivoire. There is no such. Today, with the political framework, most of the parties, if they do not come together, if certain parties do not form a coalition to at least gather 50+1 on the first round, or come together when the elections goes for a second round, there's nobody who can get a straight win from the poll. So whether President Laurent Gbagbo could be among the candidates, whether Simone Gbagbo, Domelo, Afi N'Guessan, they need to come together. Only then one can see that if Ouattara was to cheat, then at least the international opinion, the national opinion would say no. The obvious victory of the opposition would have shown up, because Ouattara will never win elections when all these parties come together as one against him.
Opa Sesanyang, I think it's something that watch whether it is going to happen. If these opposition parties or these 5 candidates, obviously coming from opposition parties, work together, it could be a different story. That's Opa Sesanyang, an Ivorian political activist, joining us on the line. It is 20 after 12 Central African Time.
Je, una jambo lolote akilini mwako? Je, una shauku kuhusu masuala muhimu? Na je, una maoni ambayo unataka yasikike? Kweli, hili jukwaa ni la kwako. Piga simu au tuandikie kwenda WhatsApp namba alama ya kujumulisha 2760552594 na tutakupigia simu.
Mtangazaji wa habari zetu za Afrika Kusini mjini Johannesburg.
Hivyo unaweza kuwa mshirika kwenye matangazo yetu. Sio mazungumzo tu, ni fursa yako ya kuchangia maoni yako na kushirikiana na jumuiya ya wasikilizaji wanaotamani mtazamo wako. Tufuate kwenye mitandao ya kijamii. Tembelea tovuti yetu www.channelafrica.co.za na uwe tayari kushiriki na kuchangia maoni yako kwenye Channel Africa. Channel Africa, mtazamo wa Kiafrika.
Africa Update, your daily dose of African insights with Lulu Gaboo on Channel Africa.
The Gaza-bound global Sumud flotilla says its mission will still go ahead despite what it says was a drone attack on the flotilla's family boat. Our Tunisian authorities say they have found no evidence of a hostile act. Now, the flotilla is currently in the port of Sidi Bou Said. And for more, we are joined on the line by Jared Sachs, a member of South African Jews for a Free Palestine, who is part of the flotilla. Jared, good afternoon, and thank you for joining us on Africa Update.
Hi, good afternoon. Thanks for having me.
Now, Jared, exactly what happened?
So, the reports are still coming in. There still needs to be an investigation. But from what we know, some kind of drone dropped an incendiary device or a bomb onto the family flotilla boat, which is the largest boat, the boat with a lot of the leadership of the global Sumud flotilla. And there were 6 people on board. Luckily, the people were not in the area of the boat where the device was dropped, but they were awake and saw the drone and saw it drop the device, and then they had to run quickly and put out the fire that was caused by the device.
Now, the fire is, Jared, the fire, it is suggested that the fire had been caused by a cigarette butt or lighter, but the GSF says it will provide more details today. Has this happened yet? And the Turkish have come out and said, I beg your pardon, the Tunisian authorities have come out and stated that there was no such device, there was no attack.
Yeah, so I understand that what the Tunisian authorities have said. They may not have seen the evidence yet, but it's all on social media already. There are videos that show the attack. If you look on Al Jazeera, you will see that they've shared a video which shows a device, a bomb of sorts or an incendiary device being dropped into the boat from the air. You can actually see that on video.
Yeah.
So to me, it's very clear what exactly happened. There is also flight logs being reported of Israeli military planes flying from Israel to Tunis just before and then going back just after the incident. So it seems very clear to us that it was an attack, and we should not let any other reports undermine what seems to be the truth here.
Now, what impact is this going to have on the journey? The fire is seemingly has caused damage to the ship's main deck and below deck storage.
Yes, so I don't know about that specific boat. Luckily, the damage doesn't seem to be too much. It seems, from my perspective, to be an attempt to intimidate us more than an attempt to destroy the boat. And what we are saying is that this attack will not deter us. We will still continue on to Gaza, and we will attempt to break the siege in Gaza. This is a struggle for the Palestinian people. We are fighting with the Palestinian people for a free Palestine. And ours is a just, nonviolent struggle, and we support the Palestinian people who are in much worse conditions. Just because there's a small fire on a boat like ours does not mean that we will be deterred.
Now, the flotilla was scheduled to leave Tunis tomorrow. What's the latest on that? You've just come out of a press conference, and also just give us an update of what was put forward during this conference.
Yeah, as I understand it from yesterday, we were probably going to leave on Thursday. It depends on how long repairs taken, and we have to make sure everyone is ready, and then we'll leave. So I don't think there'll be any further delays from then, but you never know. We'll have to see.
And now the press conference, was it also just to update with regards to the journey that is to be embarked on?
Yes, there was going to be a press conference anyway, but the press conference that was held also spoke to the drone attack and our commitment and resolve, our samud, in terms of keeping steadfast towards heading to Gaza.
Jared, talk to us about just the mental state of everyone, with this now, whether it is a drone attack, exactly what has happened will obviously be investigated. But what is the feeling now with just the trip being imminent in just a couple of hours?
Yeah, so I can't speak for everyone. I can speak for myself and the people around me. All of us are undeterred. We expected something like this to happen. There was a drone attack 5 months ago on another flotilla, the Conscience, and that had a lot. That had actually destroyed the boat much more, and it couldn't sail, and they had to use another boat to sail. But they went ahead anyway, and we will do the same thing. We expected this. We expected sabotage by the Israeli government, and we are not going to stop.
Well, Jared, thank you so much for joining us on Africa Update. We'll leave it there for today.
Okay, thank you for having me.
As Jared Sachs, a member of the South African Jews for a Free Palestine, who is part of the flotilla. It is 28 after 12 Central African time, and we're coming to you live from Johannesburg in South Africa. Now, today on Hashtag Africa Updates Ask, we focus on the second Africa Climate Summit, which is continuing in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, in an effort to shape Africa-led climate solutions and unlock climate finance. Now, our question to you today is, how is climate change affecting you? Share your thoughts and your views on all our social media platforms. That's on X, Instagram at Channel Africa 1, on Facebook at Channel Africa. You can also send us your comments and voice notes to +2763 as 406 9126. Hashtag Africa Update Us.
Africa, voici Abedi.
Oui, c'est moi.
Abedi est un passionné de musique dans l'âme. Il a un goût pour toutes sortes de musique et passe ses journées à écouter Channel Africa.
J'aime beaucoup la musique africaine.
OK. Devinez quoi? Channel Africa veut aider Abedi et les mélomanes du monde entier à découvrir encore plus de musique incroyable. C'est pourquoi Channel Africa appelle les artistes africains à soumettre leur musique. Chers artistes, n'oubliez pas de nous fournir toutes vos informations pertinentes à l'email adresse musique@channelafrica.co.za. Les soumissions sont votre chance d'être entendues, mais elles ne garantissent pas une playlist. Toutes les soumissions seront soigneusement examinées pour voir si elles répondent aux exigences de notre station. Channel Africa, la perspective africaine.
Africa Update on Channel Africa.
It is 12:30 Central African time, and our news headlines up next with Jwalani Tulongwepe.
SABC News. Headlines. The African Perspective.
Thank you, Lulu. Good afternoon. Making headlines, Côte d'Ivoire has barred two top opposition leaders, former President Laurent Gbagbo and former Credit Suisse CEO Tijani Thiam, from next month's presidential election. Police have detained a senior official of Uganda's largest opposition party, the National Unity Platform, while he attended a court appearance by his colleagues. And finally, Thailand's former Prime Minister Thaksin Shinawatra is reported to have arrived at a Bangkok prison. This follows his year's sentence. I will have details on these and other stories at 1 o'clock.
SABC News. Headlines. The African Perspective. Sports on Channel Africa. The African Perspective.
In this hour, in our sports update, we begin with athletics. South African 400-meter champion Zakithi Nene believes he's in the right shape to finally claim his first major international medal when the World Senior Athletics Championships gets underway in Tokyo from Sunday until the 13th of September. Nene, who reclaimed his national crown earlier this year, has carried strong form into the global showpiece and is considered one of the athletes to watch. He impressed in Europe with 2 second-place finishes in Rome and a third in London on the Diamond League circuit.
Hey, so much pressure. But I'm in a very good position. I just picked up a niggle in Budapest, so I've just been trying to navigate through that. But I wouldn't be here if I wasn't confident that I can step on the track and be competitive. So yeah.
The 27-year-old who runs under KwaZulu-Natal Athletics says his breakthrough year has been shaped by a new mindset and approach which he hopes will propel him beyond the 3 previous semi-final exits to a spot in the final.
I think it was like a whole shifting mindset, to be honest. I think I've just been like a semi-finalist for like 3-4 championships now. And I think Paris really hit hard, given the fact that, I was 26, I was of age, so I expected better for myself. And that wasn't really the case, So I think there's just been like a different approach, just I got stronger, I got faster, and I think that's, showing now on the track as well. So yeah.
On to cricket news. South African Proteas women's coach Mandla Mashimbi has applauded the record prize pass increase for the upcoming ICC Women's Cricket World Cup. The governing body announced a few days ago that the marquee tournament will have a pot of $13.88 million, up almost 300% from the last edition in New Zealand in 2022. Mashimbi says this shows just how far women's cricket has come.
It just shows how important the women's game and how big it has grown for ICC to really up the pace in the manner in which they did. And in terms of my players, if you had offered me a job now that will pay me 3 times more than what I'm getting now, I'll probably take it, right? But also understanding what is the most important thing. Money can be made every day, but what you bring on the field, it's just that opportunity that you get.
On to football news. Lionel Scaloni says he will give superstar Argentinian forward Lionel Messi time to decide on his World Cup future as the defending champions prepare to close out their World Cup qualifying campaign. Argentina closes its South American qualifying campaign with a visit to Ecuador today. The world champion, already at the top of the standings, will travel to Guayaquil on Monday afternoon without Lionel Messi, who will sit out the match to test. And finally, boxing news. Joseph Parker's team have questioned whether Alexander Usyk will fulfill his mandatory obligation to fight the New Zealander. Usyk holds all 4 of the major heavyweight titles. He is due to make a mandatory defense of the WBO belt next, but the organization has granted Usyk a 90-day extension on medical grounds for those negotiations. The WBO has ruled that he must box their mandatory challenger, currently Joseph Parker, next. Parker is risking his mandatory position in an October the 25th bout with Fabio Wadley. For any sports stories you'd like to share with us, please to send an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +2711 714 4459. This is Channel Africa Sport with me, Figure Ngwati.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African perspective. Mornings made better with Peter and Asanda on Rise and Shine. Weekdays, 6 till 9.
Former politician and diplomat. He's the leader of the Democratic Alliance Party at one stage and also served as South Africa's ambassador to Argentina, Uruguay and Paraguay. Ambassador Tony Leon, if you were party leader now and in the GNU, what would you be pushing for?
I can speak with some direct experience because, as you might know, I was actually one of the negotiators of the GNU last year when it was formed. What I'd be pushing for is to hold the government or the president's feet to the fire on actually operationalizing the agreement that was implemented. Unfortunately, that agreement has been honored only in its breach. And I think, go back to basics and just say, okay, we're not going any further with this arrangement until we actually implement these steps.
Mornings made better with Peter and Asanda on Rise and Shine. business news on Channel Africa. The African perspective.
Good afternoon, I'm Nosipo Zuma. In your business news this hour, Egypt's annual headline inflation rate is forecast to have slowed in August to 12.7%, continuing a downward trend over the last 2 years as the government tightens its monetary policy. The median forecast of 13 analysts polled by Reuters was for annual urban consumer inflation to have eased to 12.7% from 13.9% in July. The polling data was collected over from the 3rd to the 8th of September. 3 analysts predicted core inflation would remain unchanged at a median 11.80%. Senegal has raised its 2025 oil-output forecast for the Sangomé offshore field operated by Australia's Woodside Energy Group to 34.5 million barrels from 30.53 million. The Sangomé field started output in June 2024, making Senegal an oil-producing nation. Now, according to an Energy Ministry statement published on X, from January to August, Sangomé produced more than 24 million barrels of crude oil. Ghana's High Commissioner to South Africa, Benjamin Kofi Kwashi, has called for constructive engagement between Ghana's Ministry of Communications and Multi-Choice Ghana to resolve a standoff. Kwashi made these comments after the Multi-Choice Group rejected calls from Ghana's Minister for Communications, Technology and Innovation, Samuel Nati George, for a 30% reduction in subscription fees. Kwashi says prolonged tensions could undermine investor confidence across the sub-region, stressing that the matter should be settled through negotiations rather than public confrontation.
So in the West African sub-region where DSTV Multi-Choice operates, we are told that they don't pay up to the $50 that Ghanaians have been asked to be paying every month for premium services. In the whole of West Africa, we are the highest that pays for such a subscription. And also the programming, most of the programming are those that are recorded, not live programs. And so those are the disparities that they looked at.
The National Union of Metal Workers of South Africa, NUMSA, and the South Africa Guild of Actors, SAGA, are calling for the formal recognition and regulation of South Africa's creative industry. In a joint statement, the organizations expressed a concern over the continued financial struggles that many artists are facing. They have cited a lack of labor protections and industry standards. SAGA chairperson Jack Dev Narain says protection under the country's labor laws would be a revolutionary change for actors.
This is something that is a feature of every creative sector around the world, and yes, in Africa as well, but not in South Africa. And not having those benefits means we don't have the right to earn residual income, we don't have a right to social security, so it means we are unable to make contributions towards some kind of a fund while we are earning, so that in our later years we're able to draw on that money. And what we are asking for is for our status as workers to be recognized, for our constitutional rights to protection under labor laws to be recognized.
Your financial indicators: one US dollar in Nigeria is trading at 1,000 naira 514, and Botswana is 13 bula 30. Kenya, the dollar is trading at 128 shilling 30, and in Zambia it's 23 kwacha 89. The BRICS countries: $1 in Brazil is trading at 5 real 42. Russia is 81 rubles 95. India is 88 rupees 02. China at 7 yuan 13, and in South Africa $1 is trading at 17 rand 54. $1 is trading at 74 pence to the British pound and 85 to the euro. Looking at commodities, gold is trading at $3,650 and platinum at $1,392 per ounce. The price of Brent crude oil is at $66.44 a barrel. Now, for any business news stories you would like to share with us, please send an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +27 11 714 4459. For Channel Africa Business, I'm Nosipo Zuma.
business news on Channel Africa. The African perspective. Africa Update with Lulu Gaboo on Channel Africa.
Oh, thank you to Nosipho Zuma with our business news. It is 12:41 Central African time, and we're coming to you live from Johannesburg in South Africa. Our Jean-Jacques Lumumba, former banker and well-known whistleblower from the Democratic Republic of Congo and a great-nephew of Patrice Lumumba, has called for a new path forward for the DRC, one rooted in truth, justice and reconciliation. In an interview with Channel Africa, Lumumba said that the cause of the nation's crisis lies not only in foreign meddling, but in state failure, systemic corruption and impunity, among other things. He warned that politics in many quarters has become synonymous with personal enrichment, further deepening Congo's poverty despite its extraordinary mineral wealth. Our Channel Africa's reporter Michael Mbewe caught up with Jean Lumumba.
But DRC is a richest country in Africa and in the world because, DRC, today 30 years of conflict since 1997 with AFDL and Laurent Desire Kabila, supported by Rwanda, Uganda, Burundi. The pretext of Rwanda, Uganda, and Burundi is to purchase FDLR in DRC and to ensure security and safety for a new Rwandese regime. Until today, this pretext continue, and today we'll have another rebellion movement, M23, who have the same revendication with EFDL, and today Congo register 6 million of deaths is enough for us. We want peace in the Congo. Congo is the richest country with poor population, and today we must show a new way to take another solution for us, and South Africa can help us to have a process of sanctity. And today we need a new dialogue, but for me this dialogue, which is based in truth and reconciliation, to build development, because Congo needs development, which all mineral capacity, potentiality of Congo. We need development and stability, and development can sustain by peace and stability. It's more important to have this development, but it's more important to ensure security and safety of Congolese, and all strategy and all merchandise and thing of Congolese.
This fight was started by your uncle, the late Patrice Lumumba. May his soul rest in peace. We know his history, not forgetting how, they ended up taking his life because of he was fighting for Congolese people and then also the continent of Africa to be free, but also to preserve and protect, the wealth of the DR Congo. Today we are in 2025 and the song goes on. You yourself have served in the government of the DRC, and with your experience of governance, what do you think is at the center of this long conflict?
My opinion is our situation is due to failing of our state, and bad governance is also another problem of our Congolese. Bad governance and lack of leadership and is the main problem. Congo, everybody like to be politician, because in politics you can have money, and to pick money, embezzlement of funds of money is our characteristic of Congolese, the characteristic of our politicians. Today we must build another way. For me, another way is to stabilize Congo and to have more reform concerning our education. For me, French system and Francophone system in DRC doesn't help us to build a good state. The Congolese must be the conceptor, the creator. And now today, Congo is like a unity of tribes. a union of tribes. Congo is not a nation. We must build a nation, must build a new nation, because if we have a failing of states, we must build another thing. We must build a nation developed, a nation who will be reconciliated with his past, and a nation will be have a new idea, a new way to have a new Congo. Congo, which we want, is not exist today. We have a colonized model in our country, and the responsibility is our responsibility. It's the responsibility of my generation to build a new Congo for the future generation, and to build a Congo with peaceful Congo stability, security for all Congolese and our neighbor, because we cannot build the security and the prosperity in Congo without our neighbor. Today we have some problem with Rwanda, Uganda. Tomorrow it will be, for example, Zambia and Central Africa. And it's more important to build the good state, the good nation, a safety nation, and to avoid our neighbor to have every time the pretext to attack us and to sustain or to support the rebellion for building stability in our country. It's our responsibility. It's not easy for us, but we must do more to build this, to have another vision, a vision of Patrice Lumumba, Julius Nyerere, and Nelson Mandela for a good African.
The government was also invited to be part of this dialogue by the Thabo Mbeki Foundation. And then we also heard rumors that some opposition leaders were barred from coming to South Africa by the government. What is your comment on that?
For me, government have a bad opinion concerning this conference. For Congolese government, I hope that is a start of dialogue or a new mediation. It's not a mediation, it's just an African peace and security conference. Dialogue is a term and the word being employed in for this conference, but you know that Congo now prepare a new inclusive dialogue, but for government Congolese, he consider it for a new mediation, because you know that we have a Doha in Qatar mediation and a USA mediation, and for Congolese governments, they don't like pressure with another country. You know the implication of President Thabo Mbeki in the peaceful process in 2002, but for me it's not good, because now the situation in Congo call everybody to talk. Government Congolese must talk. Today, before President Tshisekedi refused to talk with M23, but today is another thing. He has a mediation with Qatar, but it's not, for me, it's good for them to discuss with all Congolese, because the solution of our country is also to have a good dialogue, an inclusive dialogue, and to discuss with all Congolese, because the solution will be Congolese solution.
That was Jean-Jacques Lumumba, former banker, a whistleblower, activist, and great-nephew of Patrice Lumumba from the Democratic Republic of Congo.
Darubini ya Afrika na I am Henry Shakif.
Dar es Salaam siku ya leo ni ya kijani.
Ya kabisa, Tanzania nzima macho ni hapa, na mkutano wa leo umeshika karibu 90% ya vyombo vyote vya habari viko hapa kusubiri kusikia ni kitu gani hasa ambacho CCM itakisema katika siku ya kwanza ya grand opening ya uzinduzi wa kampeni zake kitaifa.
Rais wa Tanzania Samia Suluhu Hassan ameidhinishwa kuwania kiti cha urais katika uchaguzi utakaofanyika Oktoba 29 mwaka huu na tume ya uchaguzi. Hili unalizungumzia vipi?
Ila kwanza lilitarajiwa, ni jambo liko wazi kwa sababu Rais Samia ndiye aliyepata idhini ya kuteuliwa na Chama cha Mapinduzi kupeperusha bendera ya chama.
Darubini ya Afrika 11 kamili hadi 12 kamili majira ya Afrika ya Kati.
Africa Update, your daily dose of African insights with Lulu Gaboo on Channel Africa.
It is 12:50 Central African Time, and we're coming to you live from Johannesburg in South Africa. The second Africa Climate Summit continues in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, in an effort to shape Africa-led climate solutions and unlock climate finance. Now, the summit seeks to provide a platform for policymakers, practitioners, business and civil society to advance Africa's climate agenda and sustainable development priorities. It is co-convened by the African Union and the Ethiopian government under the theme Accelerating Global Climate Solutions, Financing for Africa's Resilient and Green Development. Kenyan journalist Minzelete Iljai is attending the summit.
The summit that is ongoing in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, this summit means a lot to a lot of people, especially women and children who are the most affected when it comes to climate change. So for me, I view this summit as a stepping stone to women and children to get justice when it comes to climate change, while giving them a voice to express and share their opinion, at the same time being at the table when decisions are being made so that their voices can be heard and they can also feel part of the solution in tackling climate change in Africa. We need to come up with our own solutions in tackling climate change, but at the same time, these developed countries that are contributing largely to climate change have to pay the price. So climate finance being one of the biggest topics being discussed here in the summit is another way to tell these countries that we need the finances to help African countries tackle climate change. But at the same time, Africa has to come up with their own ways of getting the finances to also tackle the challenges, environmental challenges and climate change challenges that are affecting them, instead of just depending on the developed countries.
What would you say are some of the challenges that the continent continues to face when it comes to climate change, and you are hoping this summit is able to bring to the fore?
Food security, for me, I view it as one of the biggest challenges. Because when a country or the continent does not have enough food to feed its people, then we don't expect that the younger generation, we are going to have a workforce that is energetic to work and develop the African economies. So food security as a result of climate change, droughts, we also have the flooding. All these are effects of climate change. So if we have a lot of flooding, droughts, Africa is not going to be able to produce enough food for its people. But also, apart from the food security, we also have conflicts. Conflicts also resulting from climate change. When there's not enough food, like I've said, communities will fight each other. Everyone is grappling to get something to eat. So conflicts, countries we can see in Sudan, we can see Democratic Republic of Congo, South Sudan, Somalia. These are conflicts that is affecting the African continent. So this summit has to address these issues. Africa has to find a way to address conflicts, but most importantly, address the food insecurity that we have in the whole stage at the moment.
Just how important are women's voices in the fight against climate change?
Matters a lot. Even in our homes, we all have been brought up by our mothers, and we know how important mothers are in a home. So in the African continent, women voices matters because one, women are the ones taking care of the children. When children are hungry, we have children running to their mothers. So if women voices are given platform with the summits, in the summits to come, it means that Africa is going to have solutions that start from our homes. Not just solutions that start from the government levels, but solutions that start from our homes. For the longest time, women have not been given opportunities at the decision-making tables. So women are being given an opportunity, a voice in summits like the African Climate Summit, it means that the continent is starting to view women as part of the solution. The continent is starting to give women their position, the position that they deserve in the decision-making tables. And when women are given these opportunities, then it means that Africa is going to be in the safe hands, because women are known to be loving. Women are known to take care of everyone. They don't discriminate. So when women are given the voice, the decision-making tables, means that most of the challenges, climate challenges that are facing the African continent, conflicts, these decisions are going to start from the grassroots.
That was a Kenyan journalist, Minzelete Ijai, and she was speaking to Nhlanhla Mahlangu. Today on Hashtag Africa Update Ask, we focus on this second Africa Climate Summit, which continues in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, in an effort to shape Africa-led climate solutions and unlock climate finance. Now, our question to you today is, how is climate change affecting you? Share your thoughts and your views on all our social media platforms. That's on X, Instagram, at Channel Africa 1, on Facebook, at Channel Africa. You can also send us your comments and voice notes to +2763 as 406-9126. Hashtag Africa Update Us.
Get Channel Africa on DSTV Audio Bouquet. Channel 802.
Darubini ya Afrika na I am Henry Shakif.